Hey everyone, this is Kit Cabello with Hard Lens Media. As you all know, we are dealing with massive amount of censorship that's impacting a lot of content creators on social media, be it YouTube, Twitter, and Facebook. And now more than ever, we need to support independent media. Now, this big wave of censorship that's impacting us, this isn't the first time it's happened. And joining me as a special guest, as well as talking about her independent media network that she is collaborating with some of her fellow colleagues, is CHANDA MASTA, who I actually had the wonderful privilege of meeting way back in 2017 for the People's Summit. CHANDA, for our viewers and subscribers, can you please tell us about yourself and your, I guess, time being involved with activism and community organizing and social media?
So I am CHANDA MASTA, and thank you, Kit, so much for having me on. I am with Roar Media. You can see our logo here in the background. And Roar Media is a new independent progressive media network that has a focus on women in independent media and diversity. You know, we want to see more people of color and more other communities out there. You know, I got started in the progressive movement in 2015. I was on Chalk the Block for Bernie, and then I became a state delegate for Bernie Sanders, which I entered. I led the first progressive committee within Washington State into our Dems in 2016, 2017 to represent Bernie. And so they blocked me from going to Philadelphia as a delegate, which they did to most of the hardcore Bernie people. You know, they wanted more of the establishment type there. So I led the Journey for Bernie across the country, and we were a caravan that picked up people from Seattle all the way to Philadelphia in a mad dash to get to Philly to be there to support Bernie and our delegates. And so I made this amazing network across the country of, you know, just everyday people, you know, that woke up and decided, hey, it's time to get into the system and fight. And so, yeah, I met you at the People's Summit. I was there at the time with Draft Bernie. We had gone there to put pressure on Bernie to not run as a Democrat in 2020. We kind of knew that would be the future. If you remember, we were really loud. We were really loud at that summit.
I actually remember that summit, and I was with a few of my team members there, and I think this was the first time ever we were using our press credentials. We didn't get our official Illinois City of Chicago press passes, but we got them from the People's Summit, and we were way up there in the front row. And I do remember that, especially when it got to the point of what happened during 2016, I know at least a good portion of the crowd were screaming out to Bernie, like, "You got cheated! You got cheated!"
Yeah, we were pretty loud.
Yeah, and then of course, well, 2020 happened, and well, I guess history repeated itself. But you know, I think what we're seeing too, especially with the aftermath of 2020, and of course the problems that are still in 2020, we're still seeing a political system that doesn't care. I mean, we traded out one neoliberal establishment politician, Donald Trump, because let's face it, he's part of the same big club, the two-party system, for the architect, dare I say it, Joe Biden, who's been in politics for 40+ years.
Kit, I don't know what you're talking about. Biden is going to be the most progressive FDR president we've ever had.
That's right. Well, but of course, when we hear this, now we're seeing such a large double standard from corporate media to where, okay, you know, Biden's in office and everyone is very happy that he has such a diverse administration, that he's got people taking all these positions. And on the one hand, I understand it. For a lot of people, like, look, these are historic. But on the other hand, no one's acknowledging that they have a lot of ties to corporations, Wall Street banks, hedge fund managers. Do you think the message is being lost amongst the progressive movement, the independent movement, where again we're trying to go back to the neoliberal normal and everyone's going back to sleep? I mean, what do you think is really happening here in regards to holding these politicians accountable? I mean, are people aware, or is just everyone so overwhelmed with what we dealt with Trump that no one cares anymore?
Yeah, I think that, no, it's not being lost on the progressives. I think by the amount of censorship that we're seeing across the board of independent progressive media, Convo Couch, Soapbox, you know, Jordan, Charlton, all the channels that we're seeing, they're scared of us because we're actually getting the message out. We're actually reaching people. And yeah, the mainstream media just loves to gloss this over. Everybody go back to bed and it's brunch time, right? But, you know, we look at Trump cabinet picks, you know, he had big oil and big money in his cabinet, which is no different than Biden. Biden's, you know, just because they might be a little culturally diverse, they're still neolibs at heart, which doesn't help the everyday working class of this country.
Wow. And the thing is, what I find funny and a little bit interesting is that I saw this one example from CNN to where they had Brianna Joy Gray on one of their programs. And of course, they were bringing up the fact that a lot of, or at least Brianna Joy Gray specifically, brought up the fact that, look, more progressives are showing up on Fox News, not to just be talked down to, but actually speaking out the message, because for a long time, corporate media such as CNN and MSNBC rarely have people like Jimmy Dore or Dr. Cornel West or anyone else that's outspoken and talking about real progressive issues and holding the Democrats' feet to the fire. But when it comes down to pushing back against the Democratic establishment, there's this weird double standard that we're seeing. And maybe you can explain a little bit more about it as well, where when it comes down to holding people like AOC or Bernie Sanders or Warren or anyone else accountable, everyone's going to say, well, wait, you're giving ammunition to Republicans. What is your counter to that?
You know, I'm so over this divide and conquer that our mainstream media has, you know, arm in arm grabbed onto Silicon Valley and the Democratic National Committee and has shoved on us. You know, take what Jimmy Dore is doing. Jimmy Dore has stepped out of that you stay in your lane type of thing. And he's reaching out and he's talking to Republicans and he's talking to the far right. You know, when I took the Journey for Bernie across this country, we stopped in every state. I mean, Montana and Illinois, and we were everywhere. Vans all decked out in Bernie gear and whatnot. And we attracted a lot of Trump supporters. They would come to us and they would say, you know, if Trump wasn't in the race, and this was 2016, I would be supporting Bernie, you know, because they understood the issues that we were fighting for are the same issues that they are grappling with. So I think that we're a lot closer to each other than mainstream media wants to allow us to see. And you're right, we're not allowed on Tucker, or I mean on CNBC, we're not allowed on the Clinton News Network, you know. So Fox letting Jimmy come on and you know, Jimmy got a direct line to Trump when he went on Tucker, is the way I see it, because we all know that Trump watches Tucker. So is CNN talking about Julian Assange? Are they talking about the censorship? No, Fox is. You know, as sad as it is, Fox News is telling a little more truth than CNN nowadays.
Well, let's actually address censorship as well, because, you know, I think it's very important that we bring this up. As it stands right now, and I'm going to just call out certain progressive channels. As it stands, the Convo Couch, Nico House's network, Mika Sukasa, Frank Analysis, Ford Fisher, who I don't know personally, but all four of the Progressive Soapbox. Again, I never met him as well. But
I actually met him at the People Summit.
see, I didn't have that chance. But I do know Convo Couch, Frank Analysis, and Nico House. And all five of those platforms have been officially demonetized by YouTube, including Graham Elwood. I do apologize. Yeah, Graham Elwood as well got demonetized. Status Quo, which is hosted by Jordan Sheridan, his coverage or his team's coverage of what happened at the Capitol way back early in January, those videos have been taken down by YouTube. And as it stands right now, Tim Black's Facebook page has been officially demonetized as the standing of the YouTube channel right now. I mean, hopefully nothing happens to him. But I mean, we're seeing this wave of censorship that's impacting numerous content creators, people who've been involved in independent media even longer than Hard Lens. And we're seeing this wave of censorship. I want to get your thoughts on this. What is the future of independent media? Do we still stay on YouTube? Do we look for alternative platforms? And has this censorship impacted you? Because I know I talked when I was a guest on your show, I talked about what happened to Hard Lens Media, and that itself was a nightmare in its own right. But I would like to get your opinions.
Right. So, being that I was media when I was on the ground in Philadelphia in 2016. So I actually went live with Tim Black, and, these are my family members that are being attacked. Combo Couch is such an amazing supporter of Roar Media and what we've been doing. And they all just lift us. Graham Elwood, Ron Placone, they've come together as this one progressive bloc to lift each other up because of the censorship. Of course, we're all over on the Rockfin, ROKFIN, and we're encouraging people to get an account there because we are not censored over there. It is total free think, free speech over there. But I think that our time on YouTube is very limited. Our shows are kind of quirky and a little bit off the mainstream. We don't just sit and monologue. We bring a lot of clips from around the progressive movement. So, some days we'll have The Hill or we'll have The Rising. We'll have, Kyle Kulinski. We are analyzing what everybody in progressive media is doing and saying. And so we take copyright claims on a daily basis. And I think coupled with the copyright claims and the content that we're covering, we have been in a shadow ban, just terrible. We started out on Uphill Media, which was Bernie TV 2016. Now, that was the only place we could watch Bernie's speeches on the West Coast in 2016. And it morphed into Uphill Media. And we were so algorithmed over there. And we had, I don't know, 30K followers, something like that. But we had to leave that network because we knew that we were never going to have any reach if we stayed there because of the algorithm we were in. So we broke out in November and created Roar Media, which is a nonprofit. We decided it was better to dump 30K and start from zero because the censorship or the shadow banning, the algorithms were so bad for us, we couldn't get any views.
And I understand that feeling all too well. When it happened to us in March, myself and Daniel made the very difficult decision of shutting down our original channel that this video will be premiering on, and we went to a new channel. We had like I think 23K at the time, and then we had to build up from the ground up, and it's not easy because it impacts a lot of content creators. But what is the role of independent media now, especially going on to the future? Because it just can't continue on like this, and it's quite clear we have politicians, both on the left and on the right, that are in Congress that are cheerleading this kind of massive wave of censorship with the aftermath was happening in the Capitol. And what is the role of independent media? I mean, do we just still step aside, or how else can we survive this? And what do you want to say to those that want to start their channels as well? Because I know Frank Analysis, he had 3,000 subscribers, and that's all been taken away from him.
Right. And I just looked right before we went on air. We had 17 viewers taken away from us today. I don't think 17 people decided to come to our channel and unfollow us. I know that these things are intentional. We all see it. All of us content creators, we see how YouTube is pilling off our likes, we'll have 100 likes. I'll come back an hour later and we'll have 12 likes. You're telling me all those people came back and took their thumb off? I don't think so. But yes, independent media is going to be even more important. And it's going to be up to us to find these avenues like Rockfin. And I'm really excited about Panquake. I think Panquake could really change things and rock things up because we've been being censored. I mean, let's face it, we were censored on Facebook from 2016 on, but it's definitely becoming more authoritarian. And with the support of, the AOCs out there, the Ro Khanna's calling for, more censorship and more control over this, we're just going to have to find different avenues, but we definitely can't shut up. We have to get the truth out there because I think we are one of the only groups that really cares about facts and receipts and, proving something.
Well, I think it's also, I would like for you to actually give like a short elaboration to what Panquake is, because we did mention it on Heartlands Media, and when so many content creators from Taylor Hudak, Nico House, Jimmy Dore, and so many others were trying to talk about it, YouTube quickly silenced it. Yep. Can you explain to our viewers what Panquake is, just so that they have an idea? Because I think a lot of people are looking for a place where they're not going to be censored or get canceled by, I guess, people on the left who are like social justice warriors, and dare I say it, even people on the right that are like social justice warriors. Because no matter what we're seeing a massive wave of cancel culture, and everyone wants to be in their safe space, and that's not how the world works. Being in a safe space, you're just stuck in an echo chamber. So what is Panquake?
So Panquake, I'm not a spokesman. I just have watched the videos, and yeah, the first night that they tried to go live with Jimmy Dore and Bill Binney and Graham Elwood, all these people that are supporting it. Nico, it's kind of funny. All the ones that got pulled off of you or demonetized are the ones that are supporting Pancake. But basically, it's going to be a new platform that's a blockchain. So they're not going to collect your data. They're not going to ratio. You'll be able to go back and see the blockchain and know that. So like you put a post up on Facebook, right? And I've got 7,000 friends and followers on Facebook, and 2 people will see a post of mine, which is that's just being algorithmed out. My reach is not there. Why? Because they're suppressing it. Panquake won't do that. And there's all kinds of great things. But the thing about Panquake is it's fully sourced by us, the people. So they need money. They need money. So go to panquake.com. I think it's .com. But yeah, you can, you can't even find Panquake on Google. If you go to your Google search, it'll jerk you around for an hour. So I always suggest people go to Brave, because Brave's browser doesn't suppress a lot of the stuff that Google does. But if you go to Brave, you can find the information on Panquake. And I don't think it's going to be out for a while, but I think that it's going to put a real big hurting on platforms like Facebook and YouTube for censoring.
I think now more than ever, we definitely need to speak out and not be afraid of the jackboot that is censorship. So for our viewers and subscribers, just so we can have an idea further about what Roar Media is going to be doing, because I know you guys are based in Washington State, and there's so much to cover there, especially with your best friend in the whole wide world, Jeff Bezos, and his fantastic friends at Boeing and Starbucks are there as well. Oh, yeah. When it comes down to covering local stories and other projects and events, where could we learn more about it? I mean, is there any kind of beginning phases of like on-the-ground reporting and talking about the issues impacting your own backyard? Yeah.
So, okay. We are Washington centrist, but the way that we have set Roar up is we are across the country, not just across the country, around the world. We have people all over that support us. And the great thing is with this progressive network that we have, because most of us were just progressive activists. I'm an activist. I do anti-war. I hold different rallies for different things, Medicare for all. So we brought that network together. And really what it is when we go to a protest or we go to a meeting, you always have those really charismatic people that can speak really well, that know how to get to the issue. And you think, gosh, that's the person that should be in front of a camera or being a politician. And really our idea was to get those people to, even if it was just to interview them or, because a lot of people aren't tech savvy either, like, oh, it's a lot to start a show or a podcast or, we want to help them. So, our main thing is if you want a show, if you have a voice, you want to get out there, we will help you. You come to Roar Media, we'll put you on a couple of different panels and see how you do. Are you good in front of the camera? Can you handle it? Can you think on your feet? And then from there, we'll go into production and helping you lay out your show. We do graphics, we'll do, music and your bumpers and all of that. So basically, we're nonprofit, so we're not making any money off this. I mean, we've been demonetized. We were really lucky to have Chris, the Natural Progressive, who has been on YouTube for many years, donate her channel to us when we first started Roar. So we got to start out with, I think, 1.9, which isn't, almost 2,000, woo, but it still allowed us to have monetization, even though we end up shutting the monetization off most of the time because of the copyrights that we take. So they tell us, well, you can't monetize this anyways. So, I mean, money was never our driving thing. We're all starving artists and, we have our Patreons and we really push our Patreons for our monetization. But really all the money that we make on Roar, say from a super chat or anything, goes right back into Roar. And so, we're buying equipment and shipping it out. So right now we have a whole gamut of different shows. Behind me, you can see a bunch of our shows. We have Redneckonomics, that's coming out of West Virginia. We have a Brave New Future, that's Seattle. We've got Savage Joy out of Pennsylvania. We have The Dive, That's more just for everywhere. That's everybody coming on. Beauty and the Boomer, which is just a really fun show. We have like Holly Weird. We go over just funny, weird stuff. And then, of course, we have the Natural Progressives, who's based in Salt Lake City. So we're trying to get a whole swath of people across the country to contribute to this network. So we're getting a clear look at everything that's going on around the country.
I think that's fantastic that we see more people speaking out, and I encourage everyone that if you can, if you have the courage to step up and be involved in independent media, it's a tough job. There's going to be a lot of challenges, but it's rewarding in the end because you're speaking truth to power. And I think now more than ever, we have to break away from the neoliberal corporate narrative. So as a final question for our viewers, where can we learn more about you? Where can we find you online and social media so we could see your show, find your content before YouTube or anyone else feels like censoring anybody else? Where can we go for the time being?
For right now, we have Roar Media Live on YouTube, and then we have 2 YouTube channels because we started one and then we were donated one. And so we have Roar Media Live, and then we have the Natural Progressive / Roar Media Live. But really, Rockfin is kind of where we're trying to build because we know our days are very limited on YouTube. So we encourage people to go to the Rockfin to find us. We are Roar Media Live. You'll find us at the end of the little bubbles right next to Black Bear News, which we love him too. I love the Rockfin community. I mean, everybody in there is so supportive of each other and just, contributing. And I think that Rockfin hopefully will blow up and replace, where you go to watch these type of shows. I know I personally am trying to stop watching so much on YouTube and go to Rockfin and be supportive. So like when I watch the Combo Couch every day, I'll go over to the Rockfin and be supportive over there. But, Kit, before you go, I got a question for you. How did you guys break out of the algorithm? How did you do it?
Well, this has been a lot of difficult meetings and decisions that me and Daniel had to do in regards to, one, after we were done with the shadow ban. Real quick, all right, so we obviously everyone knows that we started on radio and television, and then we eventually got into YouTube. But over time, we did get shadow banned, so from March all the way up to September, so we had to restart our whole new YouTube channel. And then somewhere along the line, Daniel texts me this message saying, "Hey, I think our original channel is back." And so, and again, there's a lot more details into it, but we decided, okay, let's do a short experiment. Let's upload 10 different videos on our original channel and see if it's going to gain traction. And those videos did. And we went over there. And then when it came down to restarting the show on our original channel and start building our network up, we had to be very careful. And we learned this, that how we title videos, what stories we talk about. And I know this is going to sound crazy because it's madness, but there's certain individuals, names, and events that we cannot say, whose names we have to keep quiet because the algorithm will pick up on it. They'll know. And it's with thumbnails too. It's a lot of attention to detail, and we made the decision that anything that's going to be deemed controversial will go on Rockfin. Any hard-hitting stories, anything about whistleblowers, anything about, some very serious issues goes onto Rockfin. And that's one of our main goals, was to make the Rockfin channel more different, more opinionative, more covering the heavy stories than we could do on YouTube. Now, again, knowing how things are, myself and Daniel cannot predict the future, but seeing what's happened to Graham Elwood, Frank Analysis, Convo Couch, Mikaz Sukasa, Progressive Soapbox, Ford Fisher, all their channels got demonetized. And then with Status Quo and their videos being taken down, and then Tim Black's Facebook page being demonetized, the future's up in the air. And we cannot, it's not fair for me to say, well, we can predict the future of what's going to happen with Hardlens Media. For the time being, we are safe, but it shouldn't be this way. And what I would say to any content creators or any of the channels that I mentioned is we got to be careful. We got, dare I say, be careful what we say, I guess, on YouTube now. But it shouldn't be this way. And we need more people to speak out and call out against the political censorship that we are seeing from the political establishment and from these big techs industries that are just thinking that they could run rampant. The internet should be a public utility, and these social media platforms should be public utility. And deplatforming and censoring people will not solve the problem. And yes, was Donald Trump a bad, mean, evil person? I don't know, but he seems like a scumbag to me. Yeah, right. But he shouldn't be deplatformed, because guess what? He's not going to go anywhere, and neither will his 75 million supporters. And by kicking people out, you know, we're not having dialogue. We're not understanding that when you start pushing people away, you're making the problem worse. And this has to be a public platform, a public utility. But sadly, everyone in the ruling class are in a super fast rush for censorship, but it's going to cost us all in the long run.
Yeah, you know, it's not just censorship we're seeing. We're going to see suppression of all kinds of different things. I mean, what's going to happen with Wall Street is going to be outrageous. They're going to dictate how the little man can play, you know, in their money pits, basically, is what we're going to see in the next few weeks. And definitely we're going to see a complete, you know, crackdown on more censorship. I think their ultimate goal is to get complete reins over, say, like YouTube, or, you know, pretty much everybody I'd love to watch on YouTube's already been taken off, you know, over the last couple of years. They've just wiped everybody off. And so it's going to be up to us to get away from these guys, stop supporting them. You know, it's like, I pay for premium, right? Because I got to go through so much content. I pay for YouTube Premium, but I'm not going to do that anymore, you know? So vote with your money, you know, use your voice to not support these groups. So I gave Rockfin the money this month instead of YouTube. So little things like that is what we got to do.
Well, we'll see what happens with Rockfin. I do have high hopes for that platform, and I do hope that things will eventually get better. CHANDA, MASTA, thank you so much for joining us here at Hardlens Media. You are always welcome to be a guest on our show. And when this crisis passes with COVID-19, you're more than welcome to be a guest in our studio. I want to thank everyone for joining us. I'm Kit Cabello, the host of Hardlens Media. Peace to you all, and let us all do what we can to build a better future.